Christians think it's really important to do evangelism in all forms, relational evangelism, stranger evangelism, for a couple of reasons. The most important reason in my mind is just because Jesus told us to. He told us to go and make disciples, and the way in which we initiate making disciples is by preaching the gospel, watching God change people's hearts and save them, and then discipling them. So one is just because we're commanded to. Two, this is the way that God has chosen and ordained that the gospel would go out to the nations. Romans 10 talks about how the way, the means that God uses to save people is the preached gospel. And so how can someone be saved? How can they repent? How can they believe unless they hear the gospel? And how can someone hear the gospel unless they're sent? And so we think it's really critical for us to go to all corners of the earth, whether that be overseas, whether that's here in Utah or wherever, and just preach the gospel. That means sometimes going out to lunch with people and looking at what the Bible teaches. Sometimes that means standing on a street corner and preaching to crowds of people who don't know the gospel. So one, that is what Jesus commanded us to do. Two, that's the way that's the way in which the gospel is spread. And three, it is honoring and glorifying to God for believers to proclaim the gospel.